Welcome back everyone to ARCHIP News. A serious security incident has recently shaken the Bitcoin world. Because of a flaw in the firmware of certain Coldcard hardware wallets, attackers were able to steal more than 1,500 Bitcoin. And the price barely moved. Is that the tell investors want to see? Let's unpack things one by one. One crucial message up front: Bitcoin itself was not hacked. The vulnerability resulted from a bug in the firmware of certain Coldcard devices, a prominent hardware wallet among many Bitcoiners. Those have always believed that hardware wallets are among the safest ways for individuals to store their Bitcoin. If only you keep your seed phrase secret, nothing can ever happen to your coins. Now, this conviction was greatly shaken this past week. Attackers were able to reconstruct private keys, match them with public keys, and transfer the associated Bitcoin without ever having touched any of the affected hardware wallet devices. The question you might have: how is this even possible to reconstruct private keys? Shouldn't this be impossible in practice? A correctly generated private key can be one of 2 to the power of 256 possible values. That is roughly 10 to the power of 77 combinations. For comparison, scientists estimate that on our planet there exist around 10 to the power of 50 atoms. This goes to show that the number of possible Bitcoin keys is vastly larger than the number of atoms on our planet, which means that brute forcing a properly generated private key is virtually impossible, even with extreme powerful computing. But that protection depends on one critical condition. The key must be generated using genuinely true randomness. And this is where the devices in question failed. The firmware error significantly reduced the number of key possibilities. A calculation that should have been practically impossible, therefore all of a sudden became manageable for an attacker. The theft is a wake-up call for hardware wallet manufacturers and for every company building applications that interact with Bitcoin. For some, it is not just a coincidence that this incident occurred shortly after the release of Kimi K3, a very powerful open-weight artificial intelligence model with advanced coding capabilities. There is currently no confirmed evidence that Kimi K3 was directly involved in the Coldcard attack. However, the broader trend is clear. Powerful and widely available AI models are lowering the technical barriers to reviewing large amounts of code and identifying potential vulnerabilities. These tools can help attackers, but they can also help defenders. Developers of security-critical systems will increasingly need to use the same type of LLMs and burn through vast amounts of tokens to review their code continuously, identify weaknesses as early as possible, and strengthen their products before attackers can exploit them. With all this happening, what are some of the takeaways for individual Bitcoin holders? Users of affected Coldcard devices should migrate funds to newly generated wallets as soon as possible. Anybody else that holds Bitcoin in self-custody should review their custody setup regularly. This includes checking the devices and applications being used, keeping firmware up to date, verifying that software comes from a trusted source, and storing recovery words securely. For larger holdings, institutional-grade custody may also be worth considering. Now, as we come to a finish here, let's address Bitcoin's shy price movement flagged at the beginning. The wallet theft was not the only source of pressure. Strategy announced on Monday that it had sold 1,638 Bitcoin during the previous week, revealing another source of potential selling pressure. But despite the negative developments, Bitcoin continues to trade above $60,000. Obviously, we can only speculate about why Bitcoin has remained relatively stable. One interpretation is that when negative news fails to push the price decisively lower, it may suggest that Bitcoin might very well already be oversold to a great extent. So that's it. What do you think of the latest exploit? Are you planning to change your custody solution at all? And is the Bitcoin bottom near? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow ARCHIP for more weekly insights into the future of crypto. Until next time, your team at ARCHIP.